Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Myself Vaibhav. Here at my place, it's raining heavily, so occasionally you might hear thundering. Now, moving back to the trading, the start of the new week has brought in new strength into the bullish sentiments for the equities as we are seeing multiple equity indices trading closer to the record highs on both sides of the Atlantic. Dow is well above 35,000 now and likely to be drifting higher in the session. However, the dollar has been a loser of sort in the risk on sentiments, risk on momentum prevalent in the day. We are observing the US dollar trading lower across the board. In such a scenario, we will be scouting for opportunities to short the dollar in currency as well as the commodity space. If we consider the data points which have had the impact on financial instruments today, the PMI releases from major countries around the world stand out. We had China's PMI numbers, and it is barely in expansion territory at 50.3 for the month of July, significantly lower compared to the prior month's reading of 51.3. In Europe, we had the final manufacturing PMI reading for Germany, France, Italy, United Kingdom, and Euro area taken together. We are observing strong growth momentum in most of the jurisdictions. I will not go into the details of the individual countries as we didn't really see market moving revision compared to the prior estimates. For the North American trading session, we had the US ISM manufacturing PMI, which is slightly lower at 59.5 for the month of July. It is the lowest reading in last 6 months as logistic bottlenecks are having adverse impact overall. On the positive side, employment rebounded and inflationary tendencies saw some easing. Now let's shift our attention to the technical side. We will first consider the USDJPY and after that gold. Here I think I failed to revise this, so pardon me for that. Here it is correctly written USDJPY's technical outlook. This is the daily time frame chart, and for last couple of weeks, the dollar has been on the back foot, and that is also evident from this chart where the formation is of lower lows and lower highs. This time around, we saw the dollar reversing course after getting close to 110.5, and as I remember, a couple of days back, I had done the session with the title of the USD JPY gains capped around 110, and that's what we saw in today's session. Even after this decline from the higher side of almost close to 50 pips, I think the momentum is quite strong, and it will be prudent for us to stick with the sell side trades and not to try to catch the falling knife. So we will have to keep in mind the lower time frame charting where we can figure out some optimum levels which we can target if we want to go in for the new trade. As we have the USD JPY trading on the new swing low, so it will be a bit difficult for us to go in for a market open trade at the current levels. Risk reward ratio is not going to be that optimum, but the trade direction is more favorable for the bearish sentiments. We have the price action well below this central pivot point, and evidently it looks likely that this first support of this month's pivot point series is going to be the next level which we can target if we are going to short the USD JPY. The regression curve is also similarly inclined to favor the bears, and we will be on the look out for the trades, and to that extent we will have to take into account the immediate price formation and try to get involved for the new trade closer to the price levels which we can rely on to generate the sharp stop losses so that we can optimize the trade entries and keep the risk reward ratio favorable to us. And now looking at the current price formation, I think if any of you had shorted the USDJPY closer to these levels when it was in consolidation prior to the start of European trading hours, then that was a superb opportunity and stop loss would have been quite close, just little above 110. And 110 has been a major resistance for last couple of days. Now that we have already seen this decline, I think we will have to count on some retracement, and after that we will of course have to look for the consolidation to happen before we get involved for the new trade. And for us the formation will be needed of lower lows and lower highs. So as long as this immediate swing high doesn't get crossed, I think we can be fairly confident. So the next stop loss works out just little above this prior swing high. The stop loss will still need to be kept closer to 110. I think this price band of 109.9 to 110 should be good enough. So that means we will have to go for the new trade as close as possible to these prior swing high levels, and that of course calls for some retracement, and we are not really sure when that is going to happen or if it is going to happen at all or not. So now that the train has left the station, we will have to go in a wait and watch mode and bide our time till we get the opportune time to get involved for a new optimum trade. And on the lower side, as I said, we can expect the levels of 109 to be breached, and eventually we can even expect the levels closer to the first support of this month's pivot point series, which is close to 108.6 to be touched by the price moves of USDJPY. Now, let's see what's happening in the commodity space where the instrument of choice is gold. This is the daily time frame chart, and for last couple of weeks, the 1,800 USD per ounce level has been critical for the gold, and this is where the gold has found support. This time around, after consolidating for more than a week, we had this sharp move in the gold, and that stalled closer to the prior swing high. But I feel if we see the gold holding well above this immediate swing low, then a new swing trade can be taken, and we can expect the gold to rebound and move past these prior swing high, and eventually even levels close to 1850 or above that can be targeted for the new entry in gold. And stop loss is not going to be much wide. I think the stop loss just little below this immediate swing low, the price area of around 1790 is quite good enough. So for that, to get the new entry, we will have to mostly rely on the lower time frame chart where we can utilize this central pivot point of this month's pivot point series as a critical marker. And as long as the price remains in a consolidation phase above this price zone of around US dollar 1805, we can continue to look for the opportunities to go long while targeting at the minimum the levels close to these first resistance of this month's pivot point series, and that is going to get us the risk reward ratio quite favorable, even a lot better than 1 is to 2, as we will be in position to target almost 2 percentage point move on the higher side. Whereas if we look at the immediate swing low, it is close to the levels of 1790. That means the risk is of around 1 percentage point if we get the entry anywhere in between the levels of 1805 to 1810. So for that, we can target this 200 SMA zone, and this is where the gold has consolidated for most part of the European trading hours. And now, after the start of US session, we are seeing this renewed momentum. And the first target, as I said, can be kept above this immediate swing high as the formation is of higher highs. And if this time around the gold holds, above these immediate swing low, then it will become of higher highs and higher lows as well. So we can count on that to bring us good reward, and we can of course wait for the price area closer to the levels of 1850 per ounce. So that's my take looking at the current price formation of the gold. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section, and I would be happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. For further market coverage, you can check out our Diversity Analytics page to start trading. The JForex platform provides you an peerless experience. You can also follow us on the Facebook. You can follow our page on it. Thank you all for joining in. See you next time. Till then, goodbye.